I added a 2022 performance mod to F1 2021 in simulated 10 seasons. Which team will dominate the decade with the new ground effect cars? Stay tuned to find out. My name is Chris, welcome back to CFRacing, and enjoy the video. Hello everybody and welcome back to another simulation video. Yes guys, we are back with simulations. F1 2022 I believe releases in about 2 weeks or about 10 days or whatever. So I'm going to be trying to do as many simulations as I possibly can within this 10 days to get the hype going back on the channel for F122. So first, I'd like to say thank you guys so much for the support. It's been great. Second of all, I'd like to give a shout out to Scotty and Jamie, or one of the two, whoever made this performance mod. I got this mod for them. Not sure if it's on Race Department because they sent it to me via Discord, but still, it's a great performance mod. Highly recommend you check it out if it's on Race Department. Not sure if it is, but if it is, go check it out. And with that being said, guys, enjoy the simulation. In 2022, Lando Norris becomes a one-time World Drivers' Champion, taking 6 wins on the year, taking 311 points to finish in P1. Charles Leclerc matches Lando Norris with 6 wins, having 258 points on the year, finish in P2. Carlos Sainz, Daniel Ricciardo, and Max Verstappen, along with George Russell, all take 1 win on the year as well to finish P3, P4, P5, and P6. And for the first time, I believe since the 90s, McLaren wins a World Constructors' Championship, which is very impressive for them. P2 is Ferrari, followed by Mercedes in 3rd, Red Bull in 4th, P5 is Alpine, P6 AlphaTauri, P7 Aston Martin, P8 Haas, P9 Alfa Romeo, and Williams in dead last. Sadly, going into 2023, there are no driver transfers, but there is a regulation change to the aero departments, which could and probably will shake up the grid going into 2023. In 2023, Charles Leclerc wins his first ever World Drivers' Championship, taking 7 wins on the year to finish in P1 with 298 points. Daniel Ricciardo has a great bounce back season, finishing in P2 with 5 wins. Lando Norris finishes in P3 with 3 wins, and Carlos Sainz finishes in P4 with 1 win. McLaren win their second consecutive Constructors' World title, followed by Ferrari in P2, Alpine P3, Mercedes P4, Red Bull P5, AlphaTauri P6, Aston Martin P7, Haas P8, Williams P9, and Alfa Romeo actually dropped to dead last. In the driver transfer market, Valtteri Bottas decides to retire from Formula 1, and his good old Mercedes replacement goes and replaces him at Alfa Romeo as George Russell goes to Alfa Romeo, and out of the blue, Louis Delatraz goes to Mercedes. And going into 2024, there are no regulation changes. In 2024, Lando Norris becomes a 2-time world champion, taking 7 wins on the year to finish in P1. Charles Leclerc takes 6 wins on the year to finish P2. And Daniel Ricciardo takes 2 wins on the year to finish in P3. McLaren win their 3rd consecutive Constructors title, and looks like the early 90s, late 80s dominance of McLaren is back. Ferrari finish in P2, followed by Alpine P3, Red Bull P4, Mercedes P5, AlphaTauri P6, Williams P7, Aston Martin P8, Haas P9, and in dead last once again is Alfa Romeo. In the driver transfer market, Daniel Ricciardo, after having some pretty solid seasons, decides to retire from Formula 1, and that moves Alexander Albon to McLaren. Louis Delatraz goes to Williams to replace Albon, and to replace Delatraz at Mercedes, we have Oscar Piastri getting his first taste in Formula 1. And in the regulation change department, there is a regulation change to the aero and chassis departments, which will likely shake up the grid once again heading into 2025. In 2025, Lando Norris becomes a 3-time world champion, taking 9 wins on the year, his most successful season so far, to finish in a P1. Charles Leclerc takes 6 wins on the year to finish P2, and Alexander Albon actually takes his first ever win to finish in P3. McLaren win their 4th consecutive Constructors' title, followed by Ferrari in P2. AlphaTauri make a big jump to finish in P3. Alpine P4, Red Bull P5, Mercedes P6, Aston Martin P7, Haas P8, Williams P9, and once again Alfa Romeo in dead last. In the driver transfer market, George Russell decides to leave F1 for some reason, as Perez goes to replace him at Alfa Romeo. Sean Gelael, never thought I'd say that, goes to Alpine. Esteban Ocon makes a great move and goes to Mercedes. Callum Ilott goes to Red Bull, and Oscar Piastri, after a rough season, heads to free agency. And heading into 2026, there is no regulation change. In 2026, we have the Scuderia back on top as Charles Leclerc takes 11 wins on the year to finish in P1. Alexander Albon has a great season at McLaren, taking 3 wins to finish P2. Lando Norris takes 1 win to finish P3, and Carlos Sainz takes 1 win on the year to finish in P4. And the first time, I believe, since 2008, Ferrari win a World Constructors Championship. P2 is going to be a McLaren, P3 is AlphaTauri, P4 is Alpine. After that, we have Red Bull in P5, Mercedes in P6, Aston Martin in P7, Haas P8, Alfa Romeo in P9, and Williams in dead last. In the driver transfer market, Callum Ilott goes to Alfa Romeo, Nobuharu Matsushita goes to Aston Martin, Jack Aitken goes to Mercedes, Esteban Ocon goes to Red Bull, Zhou Guanyu goes to Williams, and that has actually left both Canadians of Lance Stroll and Nicholas Latifi as free agents. And going into 2027, there is no regulation change. In 2027, Charles Leclerc becomes a 3-time World Drivers' Champion, taking 10 wins on the year to finish in P1. Lando Norris takes 5 wins on the year to finish P2. Sainz takes no wins, but still was consistent enough to finish in P3. And Alexander Albon takes 1 win on the year to finish in P4. Ferrari win their 2nd consecutive Constructors title, followed by McLaren in P2, Alpine in P3, AlphaTauri in P4, Red Bull in P5, Haas move up to P6, Mercedes P7, Williams P8, Alfa Romeo P9, and Aston Martin in dead last. In the driver transfer market, Carlos Sainz decides to retire from Formula 1. That moves Sebastian Vettel to Alfa Romeo. Mick Schumacher goes to AlphaTauri, Oscar Piastri comes back to F1 and joins Aston Martin, and so does Jack Aitken as he goes to Aston Martin. Charles Leclerc's best friend Pierre Gasly goes to Ferrari, Esteban Ocon goes to Haas, Max Verstappen goes to Mercedes, Sergio Perez goes to Red Bull, Lance Stroll goes to Red Bull, and Nicholas Latifi goes back to Williams. At the end of 2027 going into 2028, there is a regulation change to the aero and power departments, which could once again shake up the grid going into the next season. In 2028, not much has changed in Formula 1 as Charles Leclerc becomes a 4-time World Drivers' Champion as he takes 8 wins on the year to finish in P1. Lando Norris takes 6 wins on the year to finish in P2. And Pierre Gasly takes his 2nd and 3rd win in Formula 1 as he finishes in P3. Ferrari take their 3rd consecutive Constructors title as McLaren finishes in P2. Alpine in P3. AlphaTauri P4. Red Bull P5. Haas P6. Williams P7, Mercedes, yikes, in P8, Alfa Romeo in P9, and Aston Martin in dead last. There are no driver transfers, surprisingly, going into 2028, but there is a regulation change to the chassis departments. In 2029, Charles Leclerc becomes a 5-time World Drivers' Champion as he takes 284 points to finish in P1. Lando Norris takes 6 wins on the year, 2 points behind Charles Leclerc to finish in P2. Looks like Leclerc was a little bit more consistent. Albon takes 4 wins on the year to finish in P3, and Pierre Gasly takes 2 wins on the year to finish in P4. McLaren is back on top in terms of Constructors' Championships as they win their 5th of the simulation. Ferrari finished in P2, followed by Alpine P3, AlphaTauri P4, Red Bull P5, Haas P6, Mercedes P7, Williams P8, Alfa Romeo P9, and Aston Martin in dead last. In the driver transfer market, Lance Stroll for some reason decides to retire from Formula 1, and that leaves an open spot at Red Bull, and so Louis Delatraz decides to take that seat at Red Bull. And in the regulation change department, there are no regulation changes going into 2030. In 2030, Pierre Gasly wins his 1st ever World Drivers' Championship, taking 285 points, 6 wins to finish in P1. Charles Leclerc takes 3 wins to finish P2. Fernando Alonso, can you believe that? In 2030, he is still racing. He takes 1 win to finish in P3. Alexander Albon takes 4 wins to finish in P4. And Lando Norris takes no wins, but still finishes in P5. Ferrari win their 4th constructors title of the simulation to finish in P1, followed by McLaren P2. Alpine, I'm sure if they didn't have Sean Galil as a driver, they'd be probably in the hunt for a World Constructors Championship. AlphaTauri in P4, Haas P5, Mercedes P6, Red Bull fall down to P7, yikes. Alfa Romeo P8, Williams P9, and Aston Martin in P10. In the driver transfer market, Max Verstappen decides to retire from Formula 1, surprisingly, before Fernando Alonso. Nobuharu Matsushita goes to Alfa Romeo. Sebastian Vettel goes to Alpine. Lewis Hamilton goes to Ferrari. Charles Leclerc goes to Mercedes, along with Fernando Alonso, as he also goes to Mercedes. That is one spicy driver lineup there. Zhou Guanyu goes to Red Bull, and Louis Delatraz goes to Williams. In the regulation change department, there is a regulation change to power and durability heading into the final season, so maybe, just maybe, that'll shake up the grid. In 2031, Pierre Gasly wins his 2nd World Drivers' Championship as he takes 7 wins on the year to finish in P1. Alexander Albon takes 5 wins on the year to finish in P2. Lando Norris takes 2 wins to finish P3. Sebastian Vettel surprisingly takes 1 win to finish in P4. And Lewis Hamilton ends up finishing in P5. I believe he had 1 win. I think I forgot to mark that down. McLaren win their 6th Constructors title and actually were the most successful constructor in this simulation. Ferrari finished in P2, followed by Alpine in P3, AlphaTauri P4, Haas P5, Aston Martin P6, Mercedes P7, Red Bull P8, Williams P9, and Alfa Romeo. Quite a disappointing simulation for them as they finish in dead last. So guys, that is going to be the 10-year simulation. Now we're going to go to the final stats for every single driver, team, and we'll see what happens there. So at the end of 10 years in this simulation, Charles Leclerc was the most winning driver, taking 63 wins, followed by Lando Norris with 47, Pierre Gasly with 17, Alexander Albon with 18, oops, I should have flipped those, my bad, I didn't do my math properly, Daniel Ricciardo with 8, Carlos Sainz with 3, followed by Verstappen, Vettel, and Alonso. Very surprising to see Max Verstappen only getting 1 win. There may be something in the coding with Red Bull with this performance mod, don't really know. Charles Leclerc becomes the world's most World Drivers' Champion driver, I believe, in this next decade, if that's the way you pronounce it. I don't really know. Lando Norris wins 3 World Drivers' Championships, and Pierre Gasly takes 2 World Drivers' Championships. McLaren was the best constructor of the decade, taking 6 World Constructors' Championships, and Ferrari wins 4 World Constructors Championships. So guys, that is going to wrap it up for this video. If you guys did enjoy and you want to see more simulations like this from me, hit the like button, subscribe, share with your friends. With that being said, everybody, we got some more coming out soon. Stay tuned for that. And also, we got F1 2022 content coming out in about 10 days. With that being said, guys, see you guys next time. Goodbye.